I do a lot of things, but mainly I'm principal of Organic Architect, a small design firm here in San Francisco, and we design environmentally friendly buildings. An organic architect, it's a term that I borrowed from Frank Lloyd Wright. An organic architect transcends a normal architect, in that an organic architect is fixated on the systems of nature. Specifically, the buildings that we do almost mimic the forms of nature. They're very natural, they're very flowy, they use natural materials, and of course they have this respect for the environment. My vision of why I'm doing all this is actually part of a multitude of reasons. One is this idea that everything that exists in the world should exist because it makes the world a better place. And that's kind of an overarching thing, and something that I try to get my students to do, and I try to get my clients to do, and I certainly try to get my friends to do. But it also comes from pure selfishness, because I'm a designer, and since I was 8 years old, I love to design buildings and draw buildings, and for some reason I was just obsessed with buildings. And I found out later that what I was really into was the design of experience. It wasn't building so much as just, I like the idea of when you walk into a house and you take off your hat and you put down your bag and you entertain guests and your family comes in. Design of that experience is what I'm really obsessed with. The environment became something that was very logical for me, a logical extension of that. To design a building that isn't environmentally friendly just made no sense. So about 12 years ago, when I started discovering all this, it came as a shock to me initially when people weren't environmental. When you found out that buildings consume 40% of our natural resources and our energy, and yet nobody seemed to do anything about it. So on one hand, there's the architecture, which is very passionate and selfish, and on the other hand, there's this environmental part that's just very logical. It's so logical, in fact, that I think of green architecture as almost redundant, with the idea that in the future, you'll say green architecture the way you say fast sports car or structurally sound building. It just sounds stupid, it just sounds redundant. Every building will be green, because it has to be. It doesn't make any sense otherwise. To design a building from the ground up, a green building, really requires three levels, what I call three levels of commitment on the part of the client. The first level is the easy one. It's the one that most of us are familiar with. It's the old substitution game of just the finishes. Instead of using this environmentally harmful material, you substitute it for a benign material. A good example of that is instead of using Corian countertops in your kitchen, you use maybe recycled glass or quarry tile or something natural. And that's easy, and it's also fun. And it's the one that gets kind of the most attention. The second tier of commitment is really to beef up to systems. And that's for people that are really passionate about it. And that would be adding solar panels to your roof, or water catchment system to your backyard, or some other mechanical system that would connect to the building. It's more of a commitment because it's more of a financial commitment. The third level is really the upping the ante and asking the clients to do a lot more. But once they do that, they start to see all the benefits of green building. That third level is where you change the actual building structure. So instead of using typical wood or typical metal to build the building, we build out of straw bale or rammed earth or pumice-crete or some other really natural material. And then it starts to also change the look of the building as well. Instead of having these little flimsy 4-inch walls, a straw bale building will have 20-inch thick walls, which have immense insulation value, and then these really deep windows, and they tend to waver a bit and have this very natural form, and they tend to require some sort of stucco on the outside, so they start to get that sort of look to them. So it starts to change the nature of the building. But those three levels really define green building.